through here is I feel like there's somebody around you. I feel more of a feminine energy associated with this person. And I feel like they are either eyeing you from afar. So for example, if you are a female, I feel like it's another, feminine energy, like another female that is kind of looking at you. They want what you have. I do see some jealousy, okay? I feel like they're looking at your life. They're looking at the way that you live your life, the way you're making money, the people that you have in your life, and I feel like they want to be in your shoes. I do feel a little bit of envy coming in from them, and you want to be a little bit cautious about that. Okay. I don't feel how it's going to translate over to the men, but I definitely feel more of a feminine energy, possibly even affecting more feminine, like female Piscean people. What I'm also feeling is there might be a little bit of discord in your relationship for those of you who are married or who have been in a long-standing, like established, committed relationship. I feel that some information might come to light sometime this month where you might, find out that somebody has been eyeing your partner. Now, I've been doing these readings for, let me see, over a year and a half. And I don't like to relay negative images or, negative messages, excuse me. But I do feel that coming through, and I do want you to understand that, if this is something that has come to light, or if this is something that you are aware of, just be careful about how you deal with this situation, because, don't let it escalate. And at the same time, don't feed fuel to the fire. And, kill them with kindness is, I feel like, the appropriate response here, okay? Because I feel like this person is like, how are you making your money? And they're coming in almost posing as a friend. So I want you to be a little bit careful about, if you're getting weird energies, weird vibes from another person, and you feel like they're misrepresenting themselves, or you feel a little bit like, they have questionable motives, just be very careful about that, okay? Trust your intuition and trust your instincts. What I also feel is if this is somebody that has done something like this to you in the past, where they were eyeing your partner, or they posed as a friend, but, were anything but. I do want you to know that I do sense some type of a peace offering coming through from their end. And I feel like the peace offering is sincere, but I do sense as well that this person should no longer be in your life, So yes, they are sincere. They're coming through with a peace offering. And, you should forgive, but at the same time, they have revealed themselves to be, to be a little bit devious. So it's really important for you to not let them back into your life. You can forgive and move on, but you don't always have to. It's still up to you. It's within your rights to not move on with them as a friend, or, to have them in your life, because that is your choice, okay? So do with that information as you will, because, obviously it's going to play out differently for a lot of you, different people who are watching. But I do sense, like if there has been any type of a falling out between people where people reveal themselves, you can definitely forgive them. But whether or not you want to, open that door again, that's another story. Okay. And I feel like it's more on a friendship level rather than a romantic level. And I feel like that can apply to Piscean men as well. But the first message I feel was more for the women that are watching this, okay? What I'm also sensing here is that your financial situation is looking really good for this month. And that's where you should focus your energy. Never mind the he said, she said. Never mind the little, drama, like pockets of drama bubbling up around you that doesn't really involve you. Don't pay it any attention. direct your energy into an avenue that is a little bit more stable, which is your financial situation. And especially direct your energy, your efforts, and your emotions into avenues that you can control, which is, work, finance, people that matter to you, okay? Rather than let other things that are on the margins getting you riled up or occupying your time or spending unnecessary amount of attention and time ruminating over those things, because honestly, in the greater scheme of things, they're not really serving your grander purpose for this month, okay? So just careful about that. Let me see if there's anything else that I am seeing here. I feel like, new ways to make money as well. A lot of new creative ways to make money. You might hear words about investment opportunities. I would be a little bit careful. Not for all, but especially be careful about the source that's coming through. The source, from which you're getting your information. Okay, so be careful about that. I feel like it's somebody, who's like, hey, I have this great investment opportunity. I've never done it, but do you want to try it and tell me how it goes? Well, you want to be a little bit careful, okay? If they have done it for themselves and it worked out well and you are sure that it has worked out well for them, then definitely invest. So you want to be careful about the source. And I feel like they might come in and paint a rosy picture about this amazing investment opportunity. And they're like, and then you find out, oh, they've never done it. And they were just, running it by you to see if you could do it first. So then all the risks are pretty much, on you. So just be careful, be mindful about where the information is coming from, okay? So overall, it's a very, very financially stable month. In terms of, like I said, those pockets of drama on the outskirts of your life, don't pay it any attention. If you see drama brewing, just, cease communication and move on with your life and focus on your things, okay? So be careful about that this month. All right, so let's go into this reading here. One of the first thing that is coming out here is, once again, the quarrels. We have here the Seven of Wands, and the Seven of Wands is a situation where you are going to have to defend your values and your beliefs, okay? This is a card usually when we are pitted against the majority. So I guess, like, in a way, you are like the minority holding, a certain values, a certain belief, and a certain ideology. And I do feel that whether or not, this is not about who's right or who's wrong. It's more about finding ways to defend yourself, to defend your domain, and to defend your territory. Honestly, I feel like, especially for those of you who are coupled up, so I have this message, and obviously it's not going to apply to all, but it's echoing the same theme earlier, where I feel like you have to defend your relationship. I don't sense that you have to justify it to other people, but you have to, like, give your partner the benefit of the doubt. So, for example, if you hear rumors and things like that, give your partner, your own partner, the benefit of the doubt, because I feel like it could be third party, either family, either friends, either, jealous people around that might be coming in, causing problems to stir things up for you. So give your partner the benefit of the doubt, okay? And hash things out. Have those awkward conversations. Make sure you're getting straight answers. And then, figure out the source of the conflict. Figure out who is starting the conflict. Figure out what it's really about. What are their motives and things like that. Because I feel like people's motives are people are a little bit devious. The ones that are coming to you with this, they're a little bit devious. And what you see is not what you get. So I would say try to give your own partner, the people that are closer to your heart, I guess the greater chunk of your attention. Give them the benefit of the doubt first before you entertain other rumors or other, messages that are coming through from third parties that you are marginally involved with, okay? And likewise, if someone has a history of always coming in, causing problems, I do feel that, they're a little bit bullish, like, they feel almost as if, you know, they can get you riled up, or they can like they feel like they know how to push your buttons. So I feel like this is a month in which you have to defend yourself, where you have to stand up and tell them, you know what, enough's enough. I'm not going to entertain this, so stop, okay? And be very assertive. So assertion, trusting your gut instincts, avoiding, you know, just negative people. If you get a bad vibe from somebody, definitely try to steer clear, ignore if you can, and cease communication if you can, okay? Both of these energies are fire energies, okay? The wands represent the suit of fire, and fire is very impulsive, okay? I feel like the energy that is coming through is a little bit impulsive. So they're not very slick about what they're doing. I feel that you're going to trip them up. That means that when they come in, from a mile away, you already know their intentions and their motives, so they are pretty transparent to you, okay? As a water sign, as a very highly intuitive sign, I feel that all of these warning signs and all of these triggers from a mile away, you know, you will start to feel it, okay? And that means you can walk the other way. You can keep them at arm's length, and you don't have to entertain and engage yourself in this type of a battle. So just keep that in mind. If you know your sixth sense is ringing true, then try to avoid escalation. Okay, so cease communication. Just just say that, oh, I'm busy, I can't really talk about this right now. If something makes you uncomfortable and you don't want to really have that conversation, just tell people that I'm unavailable right now. Let's talk about this in 2 weeks. Let's talk about this next month. It is within your rights to do that, okay? So both of these energies are very swift and very fast and kind of unexpected. But I feel like, once again, you're going to get intuition that it's coming in. And I feel like there is really, honestly, no sense of urgency about it. It is within your rights to try to block it out and to try not to entertain it, okay? You don't owe anybody anything. So if you don't feel comfortable having this conversation, say so. And if you don't feel comfortable having this conversation now, give the other person the time frame where you feel like you're ready, or, you know, if you don't want to, just don't do it at all. But I feel like, you know, setting your boundaries and being very clear, like, for example, you know, I have too much on my plate right now, I don't want to have this conversation. It's I or I can't have this conversation until like 2 weeks later. So let's touch bases in 2 weeks. And I feel like for a lot of you, this might be in your work environment, okay, where you are going to have to be professional. And like I said, there isn't a sense of urgency associated with it. It's going to feel like there is. You're going to feel like, oh no, if I don't engage, then they're going to think that I'm weak. No, they know how to push your buttons, okay? So do things a different way to get a different result this time, okay? Draw up your boundaries and enforce some type of a separation from yourself and another person if they are trying to engage with you in conflict, all right? So what's coming through as well? We have the Queen of Swords and the Six of Wands. So first of all, the main message combined with these cards here, the Queen of Swords is an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, or somebody that is like serving as a counselor, an advisor, legal counsel, or a person that's giving you some type of technical advice in order for you to secure something in your work environment, to boost your public image, or to achieve some type of a victory in the professional front, okay? So I feel like if it's an Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, they're going to be very instrumental in some type of achievement that you're hoping to get. So for example, court cases, this is going to be like a legal counsel that is giving you valid points, valid guidance, and a sense of direction. Overall, both of these cards involve like a victory over an air sign, okay? So if you have been dealing with somebody that is an air sign that has been very problematic, quite combative, especially at work, I do feel you're going to be able to triumph. So what you do with this cluster is actually very, very important, okay? Be clear, be very, very clear. Give a time frame if you need to. That way, I feel like that way they know where they stand with you. And then I feel like the victory is going to come through. If it's a problematic person in your midst, you're going to achieve a victory over an air sign, okay? But for others of you, it could just be an air sign that you're dealing exclusively with that's going to provide some type of a career boost. It's going to provide some type of a boost to your public image and to your professional image. It could just be, you know, a supervisor who might be an air sign giving you like a very good letter recommendation, or you know, someone who is very fond of you on the professional front, and they can give you a leg up in terms of promotion, pay raise, and things like that. I definitely feel for a lot of you, money is really picking up, you know, for the better. Money is really coming through, and money and you know, your public image overall. Career, public image, professional image, and just success on the financial front overall for this month. The next two cards that are here is the Nine of Cups as well as the Devil. First of all, one of the things I'm feeling here is I feel like you're going to have a lot of triumph. For those of you who have been dealing with any type of addiction, okay? So the Devil indicates a situation that has been holding us back because it indicates codependency. This can be addiction to sugar, coffee, chocolate, eating, binging, drinking, any types of addictions that you can, you know, if you name it. With the Nine of Cups here, it indicates a situation where, you know, you are feeling smug. You're feeling like you have options. You're feeling as if you are regaining back your control. And I don't read regaining control for every sign when it comes to the Nine of Cups because, you know, it's ideally the wish card. But I feel because you're a water sign, this is a situation where you are alone in your own battle, but I feel like you're overcoming it, okay? You're coming on top, and I feel like if it's like especially addiction to alcohol, drinking, whatever that has been very negative, it is behind you and you're emerging from it, and I feel like it takes a lot of discipline to get to this point. So linked up with the excuse me, the Devil card, excuse me, linked up with the Devil card, this is a situation where you feel like your mobility, your freedom of movement, your ability to like exert control or gain control in your own life has been pretty, if it has been problematic for, I would say, the past 5 months, then I definitely feel some type of clearing happening that will allow you to surge ahead and to move on in a very fruitful manner where you're going to feel like you are regaining control. Your foundation is being solidified, okay? And you're overcoming some major, major hurdles in order to get yourself to this point where you're feeling very content, where you're feeling like very strong and in control. What I'm also feeling is I feel like this is a month where a lot of you are going to have to so especially if you've been dealing with someone who has been bullying you, I feel like you might be seeking legal counsel in order to either, you know, file restraining order against them if someone has been harassing you. If someone has been like behind the scenes kind of slandering you for whatever reason, I feel slander coming through. I definitely feel that you're going to be able to face this situation head on, confront them, and you know, you're not going to shy away from conflict. And I feel like at the same time, you're going to have a massive breakthrough. You're going to realize that, you know, the other person in the past, they have always put me down, made me feel less than, and I never fought back. And this time I just, so I feel like you're dealing with somebody, buddy, who's like, who's false. And it's also like, you know, their bark is worse than their bite. So as soon as you put your foot down and you demarcate your boundaries, then they get scared and, they back away. So I feel like you're going to be able to face a situation head on, and you're going to realize, that you're a lot stronger, that people can't really, I would say, mess with you that much anymore. Okay, so this is a very, very good combination. I feel a lot of like this sense of regaining your control, regaining your power. For people who are dating women, specifically for, I guess, Piscean men or Piscean people who are dating women, I feel almost as if you might be caught in between two women, okay? So like a wife and then another person that is trying to break through that relationship. Be very, very careful about this situation, because I feel like it's gonna escalate, and especially if you are dating and they're not aware of each other, you want to be very, very careful as well. Okay, if they're not aware of one another, I feel like this is not a good situation for you to be in. So just take care of it, appropriately, I guess. Okay. So the last cluster we're dealing with here is the Temperance card and the Empress. The Empress card is a situation where you are basically ruling your domain, okay? You're expanding your business, expanding your territory, and taking charge of your own life. I feel a lot of, I feel like it's a very high, powerful card for financial security. So if you own a business, if you are working for other people, I feel like you are going out and conquering new lands, conquering new clients, gaining clients over to your side, as well as marking your territory. If you're doing any type of sales, I feel like there might be another company basically like trying to weasel their way in, other salespeople, I would say, trying to weasel their way into your territory and, trying to steal clients from under you. And I feel like they're doing it in a very covert way. And then your clients will come back and tell you, so and so did this and that. And I do sense as well that, you're going to nip this situation in the bud and you're going to establish your territory. So I do see a lot of demarcation, which is great, Pisces. This is something I felt a lot for you guys, especially. Definitely feel like you are enforcing some rules here, and you're telling people that you're not really playing around. And I feel like this is a really, really good energy for you to bring to the table, as that person who does not shy away from conflict, and they want to be they're not one to be, trifled with. So this is a very positive energy. It's linked up here with the Temperance card. And the Temperance card is all about moderation, okay? Doing things in a way where you definitely can maintain balance and harmony. So like I mentioned before, you don't have to engage in a situation if you feel like it's sort of like picking your battles, you need to say what you need to say to the other person to get your point across, but you don't want to do it in a way where, you cut them down on the spot, and because that will leave room for hostilities to ferment and for retaliation. So be careful about that, okay? I hope that makes sense. What I'm also feeling with the Temperance card, we're dealing with, like I said, overcoming some unhealthy habits, and trying your best to stay clean is what I'm feeling. So I feel like you have some strong energies that are coming through that might deal with, feeling very, very good professionally. But you might also squander your money in a way like, such as, emotional eating or emotional spending is what I'm sensing. So do things in moderation, okay? I feel like you guys are making a lot of money this month, and you might be in a situation where you are taking clients out for lunch, for dinner. You might be in a situation where you might overdrink, overindulge. Just make sure that, your professional life and your personal life are not blurred, okay? So if you're dealing with romantic issues and especially family issues at home, just try to not blur those lines and blur those boundaries, okay? We all can be the empress to get what we want, but we have to do it in a way that is fair and that is also like moderate, okay? So keep that in mind. In terms of your advice here, what we have are very, very good cards. You've got like three very solid cards. The first thing here, we do have the Fool, and the Fool is basically charting a new charting a new path for yourself, going off on a journey, and having a lot of options at your disposal. A lot of you might at this point be kind of like at the peak of your career. You're making enough money where you have disposable income, and you're thinking about, where can I expand my business? Where can I invest? Where can I chart new territory? So for example, if you are a business owner, and I feel some of you might very well be, you might want to think about, you might think like, oh, I want to buy a chain, or I want to buy a franchise, or I want to build up a new, office, or I want to build a new branch, and you're scoping your territory, you're scouting to see where things are going to, where there's a favorable location for you to do this, to expand something, okay? And with the Fool, there's always a little bit of a warning. So I feel like, once again, do some research. If you are getting, advice from somebody, like unsolicited advice, someone tells you, hey, you should do this, and they've never done it, and they have no expertise in, that field. It would be really foolish to try to, take up their word on it, okay? So doing your own preliminary research and scoping out that location, meaning going there, physically going there, I do sense that it's going to be really beneficial for you, okay? And what I also feel here with the Fool is that, going back to the first message that I mentioned, okay? If someone has revealed their true character to you, an apology, is an apology. You can forgive, but it doesn't make the situation okay, or it doesn't, it's sort of like that expression. Once you break a plate, right? Even if you were to glue it back together, it's just not the same. So I don't feel that you are indebted to anyone to accept them back into your life, because, friendship, relationships, it needs to be built on trust. So if someone has already revealed themselves, even if they apologize, even if they mean it, their actions in the future, it can only be restored with time, okay? So don't push for an agenda, and don't go back to a situation that is not going to be good for you, okay? We also have the Ace of Swords with the Fool, and basically this is kind of like cutting away all of those unhealthy relationships so that you can move on very lighthearted without a lot of emotional baggage, and feeling free and unencumbered. So it's basically like clearing out your karmic luggage, okay? So clearing all of that junk out so that you can move away and be free. For some reason, I'm getting a lot of you a lot of you might be thinking about doing some type of, I feel like you might want to push yourself to do some type of spiritual retreat, or to do some type of mountain climbing activities. That's what I'm sensing. Because I'm getting here altitude sickness for some of you. So I don't know if you are dealing with that sometime this month. When it comes to altitude sickness and things like that, just be very careful, because it is a real danger and it does come on quite swiftly. So just be careful not to push yourself too far when you are ascending cliff, mountains, or something like that, okay? So be mindful about fluctuations in air pressure, in humidity as well, because I feel like that's going to affect you, okay? So you feel like I can push myself to do this, but don't wear yourself out. moderation is really the key, okay? Because like I said, it seems almost as if there's a sense of urgency for something, but I don't feel it's really there. I feel like you're pushing yourself because you're feeling as if there's a sense of urgency, but I don't sense that it's that urgent, okay? So don't push yourself. I do feel like sun exposure, heat exposure, altitude sickness, especially for those of you who are outdoors, who are pushing yourselves to do something outdoors. Just be careful about that. Um, Hydrate, with water, okay? With water with electrolytes, replenish yourself, okay? Not with alcohol, but just with water, electrolytes, and things like that. All right. So the last card that comes through here is the Ten of Pentacles. And the Ten of Pentacles indicates some type of a family situation that is bringing about a lot of financial abundance. Okay. So for some of you, you might be dealing with dividing up assets, okay? Because the Ace of Swords indicates division as well. And then the Ten of Pentacles indicates like wealth that has been accumulated, built up over many generations, over a long period of time. So some of you could simply be, dividing up assets. Some of you could simply be dividing up your portfolios, like sharing clients with another person. If you are thinking about leaving a job, I definitely feel you're doing some type of training new employees, dividing up, among those employees who gets these portfolios from your clients. So I feel like you're in a very good environment right now, financially speaking. A lot of you might be thinking about, if you are, at that age where you can retire, I see some negotiations in your work environment for a retirement package. I see some offers coming through in terms of early retirement as well, and you're doing the negotiating. And I feel like it's going to end up really well. And I keep feeling like, especially for those who are real estate people, who are either investors, brokers, or you have investment properties, or you have money right now and you're thinking about buying an investment property, or even like a vacation home so that you can rent it out in the so for example, if you want to buy like a little log cabin you can rent out during the snowy season so that you can get some type of residual income from it, or you're trying to buy a property in a more to do this, it's going to bode really well for you. And I do sense as well that some of you might just accidentally go somewhere on a vacation on a very short trip, and you're just like, hey, I should buy a property here and use it as an Airbnb, for example, or lease it out, for example. So it looks really good for expansion, for wealth accumulation as well. Okay, so you're in a very, very good space this month, Pisces. And I'm sorry if the reading started out pretty negative, but that was an important message that I had to relay, especially for those of you who are dealing with that, okay? But everything else looks really good. A lot of it is about cutting out riffraff from your life, moving on, and just like waving things goodbye. I do see peace offering coming through from other people. I do feel peace offering, and I feel like it might be an air sign. Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, peace offering, some type of a peace offering coming through. I feel like, no matter what it is, I think you're best off cutting it out and cutting the other person out, and you're better off just, I forgive you, but, never again. So I feel like that might have been like a karmic type of a relationship to teach you to be a little bit more cognizant of your surrounding, to be a little bit more firm, and to not give your power away, or to not let other people have power over you. Okay, so I feel like that lesson, that was something that needed to happen so that you can learn this. And now you're a lot more stronger. You're a lot more in control. You're I would say a little bit more skeptical as well with new people. But I feel like it's a process of growing up. It's a process of knowing your worth, and it's a process of like only devoting your time, your energy, your niceties to people who reciprocate. Okay, so there's a lot here about gaining back your control and not letting other people affect you on an emotional level. You know, Pisces, I feel like, you know, deep down you are softies at heart. You are. And I feel like people have taken advantage of you, especially, like, I feel friends. So I do want you to understand that, you know, you can be, I feel like you can be soft. You can deliberate on a situation for a long time, because you do feel bad for people. Okay, so it's okay to be soft. But I feel like in dealing on an external environment, especially on a professional environment, it's okay for you to steel up. So I feel like you're reaching a middle ground this month, and it's indicates to me a major growth spurt that's happening, which is great. I always like to see that. So let's go into your love reading and see what's coming out. Okay, so I'm going to use this deck, no reversals. So can you show me what's going on for Pisces for love and so what's going on for Pisces love? You've got a same card as Scorpios. Whoops. Okay, I'm going to keep that card. Sorry about that. Okay, and then the one that flipped out, let's just use this as your overriding theme, okay? It's funny, the same thing happened with Scorpios. So we have the Two of Wands in the reverse position, okay? So let me just say, it is giving me the same theme. The Two of Wands is a situation where one person, it's a relationship card because the two number, but one person is in the relationship doing all the work, nurturing and, you know, fostering growth and care in this relationship, and the other person might not be around. The other person might be emotionally or physically out of the picture. So I do see it as a situation that is very one-sided, okay? On top of that, when it shows up in the reverse position, and I do sense specifically for this spread, it's basically telling you that, you know, once burned, twice shy. And it also serves as a warning for you. Look at what happened before and look at what you're doing now. So it's kind of like a gentle nudge for you to really re-examine a situation, because I feel like you're looking at the potential of something and you're starry-eyed and you feel like, you know, I can nurture it, I can foster it, and I can grow it. I know I can. Well, I know that you can too, but I feel like when it's a relationship, we're dealing with another person, and we can't really exert control over another person. It's either they want to do it with you or they're not. And if this is an ongoing situation where you dump all of your energy in it and it's not going in the direction that you want, it basically means you have to cut your losses, okay? So I feel a lot of cyclical things happening in this spread, which indicates to me that you're going to have to chart a new path for yourself when it comes to love, okay? The relationship that you're very starry-eyed for and you're yearning for, and you like emotionally just, you know, all your eggs are in one basket, I feel. It's not happening the way that you want, so you need to look elsewhere for new opportunities, I guess. Okay, so let's look at the past situation. In the past situation, we have the Queen of Cups as well as the Nine of Cups. You have an potentially a water sign in your midst. Okay, the water signs are another Pisces, Capricorn, or a Scorpio. This is somebody that in the past position, so they might have been in your life or you might have met them in the past, and they brought you a lot of emotional stability. There was a lot of certainty. There was a lot of like emotional rapport. Both of these things are very good because I feel like this is a nine and she has a big cup right here. So it basically means, you know, the completion, the whole process of like having a very, very good, solid relationship. So especially for those of you who are in established relationship and with a water sign, I want you to understand that, you know, this is what you're dealing with, which is that you both have a very strong sense of affinity for one another. There's a great deal of trust, there's a great deal of love, and there's a great deal of great chemistry that you have together. And emotionally, the other person is very, very supportive of you, okay? So if we're talking about this situation where you're dealing specifically with a water sign, I feel like there might be news communication that is a little bit jarring and problematic that comes through for you where it makes you doubt this relationship, okay? So going back to the initial message that I got, there might be some type of news, some type of, I feel like you've met somebody new and there might be an old person coming back from the past and the old situation did not work out, and I feel like you might be called away from this really beautiful, stable relationship to re-enter that past relationship that did not work out. Okay, so just be careful about that. It just doesn't make sense to me why, you know, that would happen, but I feel that energy coming through. So if you recently met somebody and you're not like, you know, seriously dating, but you really like them, and all of a sudden you have an ex, for example, that comes through, I feel X's are strongly air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Fire sign, Sagittarius, Leo, and Aries, okay? And I feel like you might be with a water sign, you know, everything is gravy, everything is going well. And then there's this new air sign coming into the picture here. And I feel like this is an exciting person, but I do feel like it's you want to be a little bit careful. And then you have a fire sign as well, and he or she is linked up here with the Seven of Swords, which indicates some deception. Okay, so deviousness, deception, withholding information, lying by omission is what I'm sensing, okay? And this is somebody that has you fired up, like you're very, very physically attracted to them. But you know, you're a water sign, they're a fire sign, so you're diametrically opposed, which means that the relation is super exciting, but it's not going to be stable. So be very careful about that, okay? So that's for those who are specifically dealing with a water sign, sun, moon, or rising right now. So let me just finish up the story. So in the past, for others of you, in the past, you were in a relationship that is very, very deeply rooted. It was very emotional. It was very fulfilling as well. And I feel like, you know, you're in a very good space, especially for those who are coupled up. Okay, so once again, trust your partner. Don't take an outsider's word over your partner's words. I feel like that's one of the main test is going to be for this month, okay? Trust your partner. Don't let discord, don't open the gate for third party and their words and their accusations to affect you for this month, okay? To like dismantle a relationship, because you need to trust your partner, all right? So let's talk about you singles for a minute here. I feel like, okay, so you had a situation in the past that was really, really good for you. And you started dating. And you have like, you know, a lot of good prospects that are coming through. we have here the Ten of Cups. And the Ten of Cups is like, emotional bliss. This is a situation where you feel like you're with somebody that makes you very happy, or you have multiple options on the table. And I feel like you're still always comparing, even though what you have are like really good options, you're still thinking back, idealizing this past relationship. And I feel like for those singles, you might get the ex coming back in, and you might get like similar energies from the past. Okay, so be very discerning. Okay, exes are not going to pan out this month, mainly because we have the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords is a painful situation, is an ending card, and it's the end of an era. And when the Ten of Swords comes about, it can be a situation that is very, very painful. So they're pretty much telling you not to give, old relationships another go, because you're going to end up, you feel elated now, but then, further down the line, they step out on the relationship, and then everything comes to a grinding, screeching halt, and it falls below expectations. Okay, so I don't feel exes are going to work for you guys for this month, so be very careful about that. Okay, on the other hand, if you are single and you're still waiting for the ex to come back, I don't feel it's a good idea for you to re-engage. I feel like you have some very solid options as well on the table, so you should entertain that. Okay, so at the heart of the reading, we have the Five of Swords, and this is a situation where there is a lot of verbal conflict. Okay, accusations thrown about, a lot of back and forth, a lot of like talking over one another. And when the fives energy comes out in a love reading, it basically indicates to me a situation where you're just, you might care about the other person, you might like them a lot, but innately you're just not compatible. This is like the ultimate incompatible card. Okay, and it usually indicates like, astrologically speaking, it's like, you might be a water sign, they might be a fire sign, or they're very, very opposite from you, so polar opposites even, such as you might be a Pisces dealing with a Virgo. So I feel like there might be some discordant energies between your natal charts, where you're just so different that you can't, like, you're so different that you have to like constantly over explain, and they have to over explain, and then you, even with all the explaining, you just don't understand where the other person's coming from, and they vice versa don't understand where you're coming from. So you agree to disagree, but then over the next like 3 weeks, the same issues come up. So this is a very cyclical pattern where it's like the same things over and over and over and over again. Now, one of the things you want to be careful about is linked up here with the Ten of Cups, which is a situation where you might care about the other person, but you're finding it hard to really go through the daily routine with one another. So be very careful about that whole opposites attract, and not seeing a situation for what it is. A lot of the times when we're incompatible with someone, it generates a lot of sexual chemistry, but it's not stable. So be careful about that. Okay. What's crowning this reading, and the crowning energy is the person that you're thinking about. Okay, the whatever it is that you're thinking about. We do have the Judgment card, and this Judgment card, in this deck, it indicates some type of a breakthrough in communication in the love environment. Okay, so this is like getting that call from an air sign. If you're thinking about an air sign, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, or getting some type of news, some type of communication, some type of messages from an air sign. So I feel like a lot of you might be entangled with a person that you want to hear from. And I feel like for some of you, it might be from the past. And I'm going to say that it seems to me like a person that is really exciting, that's very, very intelligent. It might not even be an air sign, but it's someone who is very, very intelligent. Very exciting. I feel like they come and go, and they're free-spirited, and they live their life like as a rolling stone. And they're here today, gone tomorrow. Someone who's like worldly, well-traveled, very exciting. There's a lot of chemistry here, and you're waiting for this person. A lot of you might have been romantically involved with them, and you're waiting on some communication. You're waiting on some type of breakthrough, and then I don't feel they're going to be able to deliver, okay? They're not a bad person. It's just they're not meant on your path, okay? I don't feel they're going to be able to deliver because we have the Ten of Swords, which is also linking up with that air, that exciting energy, where it's like it might be a lot of talk, but there's no concrete actions, okay? The foundation, and the foundation is the thing on which this situation is built upon. This is something that you know to be true. It's already in your midst, and you can trust it, and you can rely on it. We have here the Knight of Wands, and the Knight of Wands indicates an energy of a fire sign. So this is a Leo, a Sagittarius, or an Aries. It could be their sun, moon, or rising. And what I'm feeling here is there is some type of a deviousness associated with this situation. It might not be the person. It could just be the situation. Either you are hiding some information from them, or they are hiding some information from you. I'm actually going to pull out another card just to see which direction is it flowing in. Is it from you to them, or from them to you? I feel like they might be the one misrepresenting themselves, okay? They might like speak a good game, and I feel like they're just someone who's very eccentric, very unorthodox, very untraditional. But when it comes down to, the nitty gritty, like when things get hard, they don't stand up for what they believe in, and they're nowhere to be found. So you're dealing with a situation where I feel like someone has disappointed you. They make promises they don't keep. So it could very well be the same person, their sun sign or their moon sign. So I feel like you're dealing with someone that has left you high and dry in the past. And I'm just sensing that this is going to come back in, and you know better than to re-engage. That's what I'm sensing, okay? So I would say just be careful, okay? Just be careful. So what's coming through in the future position here? We do have the Chariot and the Ten of Swords. So exes are not going to work because you're ending up in a situation where I feel like this has happened before and you're hoping that they will change, and they're not, okay? And then for others of you who are not going to let this energy come back into your life, we do have the Chariot. And the Chariot is a situation where, two people, two energies who are very, very different from one another, and they're working together in harmony in order to move a situation forward, okay? So this is discordant energies working harmoniously together. So if you're in a situation where, like I mentioned, there is a lot of strife, but there's also a lot of love, I definitely feel like you're going to move forward. And if you're in a situation where you have somebody that you really care for, but you're not like exclusively dating just yet, I feel like you're still waiting on an ex, and you're going to realize this month that the ex is going to leave you disappointed. So you move on ahead with the person that you're sure about. And I feel like it might be a water sign, another water sign. So another Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. This is a card of Cancer. So either way, I feel progression, moving on, okay? Moving on, and not keeping yourself stuck, waiting for a person that doesn't follow through. That's what I'm feeling. It's like dashed hopes, it's disappointment, and I feel like it's the same thing happening in the past. It's going to happen again. So be careful about past energies. What I'm also sensing as well is, especially for those of you who are a couple, be careful about inflammatory news coming through from a third party, because I feel like you're the one that is in this situation, and you're the one that is you and your partner are the only two that are in this situation. So whatever is coming through, talk it out with your partner, and I feel that you are going to be able to overcome it as a unit, okay? You're not going to be driven apart by a third party, but I feel like how you handle this energy is really important, okay? So overall, a little bit of a challenging thing on the love front, but I feel like Pisces, one advice that I can give you to navigate this situation here is, I hate to refer to that Bush speech, but it's sort of like, once burned, twice shy, that energy. I'm not going to, I'm not going to quote him. But what I'm going to say is it has happened to you before with the same person. I feel it's the same person. Don't let it happen again. It's kind of foolish, right? We're supposed to like go through life, learn lessons, and avert, crises, and grow from it. So I feel like there is definitely an energy here of you not being able to move on from a person because they were very exciting, because they were so like, because there was a lot of attraction. Whatever the situation might be, I just feel like it's like better. So move on from it, okay? Don't give them another opportunity to break your heart and disappoint you, okay? So take care of yourself, Pisces. If you like a private reading, please contact me at temperatestar@gmail.com, or you can visit my website. The link is in the description box below. I also have posted my donation link. If you choose to use that link, I really greatly appreciate it. And shout out to one of my viewers. I'm just going to say the first name to keep her anonymity. Paula, thank you so much for all your donation. I really, really appreciate it. It's been coming through every month, so I really appreciate that. So I wish you the best, Paula. Take care of yourself, and take care of yourself, all Pisces. I will talk to you soon in a mid-month reading. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.